Welcome to Better Bedtime Chronicles. You're listening to Nicole
and Bridget. Together, we have 15 years experience working directly with families struggling with sleep challenges.
We share stories, advice, and deep dives into all things sleep. Let's go. Hi.
I was going to break out in song from this show my kids used to watch, but I won't. Nice to be
here.
What
show?
Mother Goose Club.
Oh, wow.
Hello,
You're
friend.
dating yourself.
I am dating myself. I know, even none of you, I don't think any of you guys loved that.
I wasn't a Mother Goose aficionado.
Yeah, my oldest is almost 15, so I'm in a different zone.
I would do it.
But hello. Nice to see you again, Nicole.
We're back.
Yeah, here we are. We've got it together. We're here. We have an excellent topic today that impacted us, certainly, and will impact most people we hear from on some level, which is
return to work and daycare transition.
Yes, it's a big one. It's a big one. It's on your mind. I would say, I don't know about you, but I will get calls or messages saying, daycare starting in 2 weeks. What do we do?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's a common question.
It is a common question. It's a big deal. It happens. It's a transition that's coming our way. And so we're going to go over a few important questions that we get asked about, which is like, what do you do if the space your baby is in at daycare or toddler is in at daycare is completely different than at home, which is, I think, the case for everyone. How do we handle if the schedule at daycare doesn't match the one at home? Like, do we start that up ahead of time? Do we go for that transition before the actual start date? Is there a regression involved? What if baby refuses to nap at daycare? Do we shift the schedule? These are all things we're going to get into today. And if you have questions, we'd love to see them in the comments. I'm curious, Nicole, how old were your kids when they started daycare?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think Ophelia was 9 months old. My kids went back a little, like I would say earlier than average in Canada. Usually we have a 12-month mat leave, 12 to 18 months in Canada. But I did part-time with my kiddos. So they started kind of sooner, but only went back part-time. And my middle was probably closer to a year. God, it feels like I can't even remember the details now.
That's okay.
And then my son was a pandemic baby, so we had a person come to the home instead because it was smack dab in the middle of COVID.
He really was. I forget about that fact that he was totally a COVID. Yeah, at different times. And now it's like, back to normal, I guess, for now.
What about yours?
So with Jonah, I was going back to work at the Ministry of Agriculture, which was in Guelph. And so I remember he went to a home daycare. He was 12 months, like right on the spot. We actually moved into our new house and then I went back to work.
Oh my gosh.
It was insane.
That sounds stressful.
And it was a home daycare. I've actually only ever done home daycares. So
so we have some diverse perspectives.
Yes,
I've pretty much only done center care.
Centers.
Well, I've done a bit of both. But.
That's nice. And I think we get a good spread with the folks that we work with for sleep support. So yeah, he was 12 months. I remember going as like you dabble in, right? Like drop him off for an hour. And I went to Winners to try new work clothes, just cried in the dressing room. It's such a big change. And when sleep, especially if sleep's not going amazing, or maybe it finally is going amazing, and you think about that necessary rocking of the boat is really stressful.
Absolutely.
And we're going to answer questions about this today. Yes.
Okay, let me ask you the first. So probably one of the most common questions I get about this transition is, at home we created the most perfect sleep environment with all of, Better Bedtimes guidance, and we've got, dark room and white noise and all the sleep cues. Daycare will be different. How do I handle that? What do you say?
It's the resilience thing, which is like such a small word, but it really does mean a lot. They are going to sleep in a different setting. That's just how it's going to be. They're going to be in a different place. They might even be in a cot, depending on how old your kid is.
They often put them in cots
right away,
pretty soon,
super young.
Yeah.
Especially, you all know, we push to stay in a crib till as close to age 3 as possible. So it's way before that. Plus the lighting, plus the noise.
Other children in the room.
How could they possibly? And you know what's wild?
They do.
They do.
They just
do it.
You know what I always say? Those daycare workers are experts.
Yeah.
Like, they have done this 100 times. You've done it once, gotten a kid to sleep, maybe twice, whatever. They've done it 100 times. They're so skilled.
They are, and trusting that they're in good hands. And they've also dealt, I think, over time with parents who are nervous about it, and hopefully will ease your questions around it. But the truth is, like, your little one must adjust to that new room, having different noises and things around. And they're so resilient. They are going to do it.
Yeah.
And it'll be okay.
It really will. It always, almost always works out.
It is. I think the first like few days can be a bit bumpy, which will segue soon into another question about like, what if they refuse? What if it's shorter than usual? That's fair. Big feelings are fair, like all of this, that those are valid feelings, but still we have to offer that sleep for them.
Yeah. And it really does work out. It
Yes.
really does. They're really, really quite skilled.
They really are. And so a question for you then, do I need to change things at home to accommodate daycare, whether it's where they sleep or the timing of their sleep?
I usually say no. I usually suggest that whatever's happening at home should continue. If what's working at home is working, don't mess with it, and allow daycare to structure the day the way they need to. So, if they need a certain sleep environment at daycare, then let them make those accommodations. You don't need to change what you're doing. The thing about kids that's super cool is they can really understand the difference in expectations place to place, person to person. So I say this about grandparents too, or sometimes parents worry about if there's a caregiver who behaves or acts or does things differently than they do. I say it's totally fine. Your kids are going to figure it out. They're going to get that at your house, these are the rules and expectations, and in daycare, these are the rules and expectations. This is the sleep space, that's the sleep space, this is the sleep time. Timing is a little bit different. So I think we should talk specifically about whether, like, say you have a kid on a 2-nap schedule and then daycare only offers a 1-nap schedule. That's kind of a common thing that happens around that 12-month mark, especially if you're going to a toddler program at a center. Usually home daycares are a little more flexible and willing to accommodate. Not always, but sometimes. But often centers will suggest that you kind of push them onto a 1-nap schedule. And so if that's happening, like even then I still say to families, you can keep 2 naps at home and do 1 at daycare, or you can just follow your kid's lead. So sometimes I suggest let the daycare make that transition. So keep them on 2 naps till they start at daycare. Daycare will handle that transition so much better than you will, because they've got other kids there to kind of like distract your child and not, and get them over the hump of that early morning nap that they're used to taking. And then at home on weekends, if your kid needs 2 naps, give them 2 naps. But if you start to notice that they're managing and they can make it to that 1 nap, move them to 1. What do you think about that?
I totally agree. And Nicole and I were saying before we hit record, like, I wonder if our answers are going to be the same on all these things.
Yeah, we've never talked about
we
this.
don't actually talk
outside of
just
this podcast.
Yeah, so here we are. I would say the exact same thing. And if you're curious about a nap transition, is it time? We have episodes dedicated just to that. So please go check that out to understand, are there some signs that it's happening? But other than that, because it is like somewhere between 12 and maybe 16, 17 months at the high end to be dropping down to 1. But it's really common for kids who need more than that. If they're getting 1 only at daycare, and you'll notice it's a fixed time, it's either noon or 12:30, let's call it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's 2 hours, whatever. And they're doing that Monday to Friday if they're in full-time daycare. It is okay on the weekends to offer 2 naps a day. Again, don't be afraid to check out that other episode to see, is it actually time to drop it at home? So yeah, definitely being flexible with letting them do their thing, where it's going to be, the timing of how they're going to do it. There's a lot that goes into the way they do their naps. They count on the ratio change for lunch. They have requirements, I believe, that they have to follow, and especially the centers from the ministry to make sure everyone's being offered adequate rest. So in a nutshell with that, think about timing, let them do their thing there. You don't want to change everything at home to try to compensate for that. However, the only thing I would say, and you might agree, is bedtime might need to come early.
Yeah, totally agree. Especially at the beginning of a transition, right? I often will say to families for the first, 3 weeks to a month, you're probably, and same with when we go to kindy, right? We talked about that in another episode. Anytime there's like a big shift in what their daily schedule looks like, and they're going to get more stimulation, it's wise to move their bedtime a little bit earlier.
Absolutely. And so when in doubt, just like anytime after 6, you're seeing early cues, staring into space, those sorts of things. Not only different amount of sleep during the day to deal with, but also new friends, noises, like overstimulated, all the things. Separation from the parent.
Yeah.
Sure. So coming and having that connection at bedtime and getting them down nice and early will mean everything. So totally normal. I think even for a couple weeks as they adjust to be overtired, needing to go down earlier, maybe seeing some night disruption. As we know, an overtired little one might wake more in the night. And this is a time to really stand firm in what you typically do around sleep, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, that's such an important point, because, and we're kind of trending now into the conversation of like what a sleep disruption will look like as it relates to daycare. and Bridget's saying, like, what we see is sometimes nighttime disruption in those first couple weeks, sometimes skipping nap at the daycare or having shorter naps. And I think when we start to see those sleep disruptions, our instinct is to modify our behavior because we're like, oh, our poor baby, they're transitioning. This is hard for them. But I have to remind everyone, the most important thing to create a safety and security for your kids is consistency. And so if you're noticing that there are sleep disruptions happening as a result of daycare, and you have this instinct to try and change your behavior to support them, the best thing you can offer from a support perspective is consistency, so that everything feels the same for them at home, and that'll create a sense of safety for them. So keep things going exactly as they were at home prior to daycare.
That's so spot on. And it reminds me of when a new sibling comes and people, and I've definitely related to this.
Yes, this is lived experience.
Yeah, we've learned the hard way of, oh, there's a new baby. We have to let the toddler do whatever because they're struggling. No, they feel safest and secure with the same sleep environment and the same response as always, which is a good segue into a question. I'll get calls out of the blue because if you Google Better Bedtime or you're ever on our website and the numbers there, it comes to my cell phone. So I'm, hey, hello. And
get Bridget.
Hey, it's me. And so someone will say, hey, I'm going back to work in 2 weeks. Usually it's 2 weeks or maybe 1 week. I've been co-sleeping this whole time.
Great question.
Do I have to sleep? They're beside themselves. Well, now they're going to be put into a cot or a crib and not nursed to sleep or not held to sleep. Now I have to sleep train or make big changes at home to accommodate. No, stop the presses. We fully believe you can and should continue what you're doing at home, and they will understand the difference given some time.
Yeah. And again, with those daycare providers, they are rock stars. They are used to kids coming who have never slept anywhere but in their parents' arms. Honestly, they are. They're skilled. So trust them.
Yeah.
Right. You picked them for a reason, and you can, agree with Bridget. Keep things going at home exactly as you have them. If it's working for your family, perfect. Lean into it. And even a baby who's nursed to sleep and co-sleeps all night and co-sleeps for naps will be able to handle this transition.
Yeah.
And the daycare providers will support them to do that.
Isn't that a beautiful gift?
Yeah.
And what a statement to hear and hopefully really listen to and hold close, because that is the truest thing ever. Each Nicole and I have 3 kids, as you know, and have been through these changes too. And it's incredible. And even the folks we service for sleep support, it's amazing how adaptable our little ones can be. So let's give them the chance to do it. And so in a nutshell, with the timing and environment, it's that we're not changing, except we will offer earlier bedtime and or continue to offer the number of naps at home that we believe our child needs, even if daycare offers less nap.
Yeah.
Does that sound fair?
I completely agree. Yeah. I remember with my oldest, she was one of those kids that started daycare and then had to move to 1 nap kind of prematurely. Like, I bet if she were home with me, she would have stayed on 2 naps longer. But she had all these little friends running around. She was even in a daycare that allowed her to have 2 naps. Like, it was no problem to accommodate. She was in a home daycare at the beginning, but she didn't want to because all of her friends were up and playing, and she was the only one sleeping at 9:30 in the morning. So she just would fight her nap. And eventually the daycare provider said to me, listen, like, every day I put her down. She doesn't want to be in there. She's crying. She's calling for me. I'm in and out of the room. Like, can I just move her to 1 nap? And I was like, yeah, go for it. And she was tired because she was pretty young. She was probably right at the 12-month mark when that happened, maybe even a little bit sooner. But she had these other external pressures, and it worked out. Like, I would say we had about 3 weeks where she was extra tired, and we just knew that that was part of what was happening. We offered that early bedtime, and then we made it through, and then she adapted and was fine. And then it was, I would say, for 2 to 3 weeks, we kept her on a 2-nap schedule at home, but then over time she didn't need it, and we started to notice, and so we just moved her to the 1.
It's nice to have that flexibility, and it's so wonderful to have the option if the daycare will allow the earlier pocket, especially for our little ones who start earlier. For my middle, he started at, I think it was 9 or 10 months. So he certainly needed 2. I had the jackpot. My next door neighbor, Sarah, oh God, I love you, Sarah, if you ever listen to this, was the best daycare right next door.
That's
so I could
amazing.
just plop him over. I even passed him over the fence sometimes.
That's so great.
It was great. And he would nap twice there. And I remember thinking, because I was working at Better, like on this business at that time with my second, and I would be in my house working. And I knew he was just next door napping probably the first hour and a half, 2 hours of the day. and then he'd have a wake window and play with his friends and then nap again there. And that's kind of when I would do my work.
Yeah.
And then with my youngest, she was around 7 months, I think. So because when you're self-employed, as we are here, we didn't have maternity leave.
Yeah,
So I'm like, okay,
same.
back to work we go, toss her over the fence. And she continued on 2 naps for quite some time. But even our eldest, because we started at 12 months, because I had like a typical job back then. And even it was months where he was on 1 nap at daycare, 2 naps with us for months and months, and it worked beautifully.
It's normal.
Totally normal. So just follow your little one's bend. I do have one question, and I think this might be on people's minds, especially if they're the first time transitioning to daycare. What if my baby flat out refuses a nap at daycare?
It's a great question. And this does happen in the first early days of daycare. One observation I'll make about this, and this is definitely speaking from experience because all of my kids started part-time at daycare. The kids who start full-time do better. They transition more quickly, right? They understand the routine more quickly. It's a little more black and white for them, I think, and that helps with their little brains. So my kiddos, when they were going part-time, like they struggled to get a nap at daycare the first few times, which ended up being the first few weeks, right? Because if they're only going a couple days a week, all of a sudden the first 5 days of daycare are spread out over a few weeks. So that was tough for us, right? And I knew, like I had the expectation that they would figure it out, and of course they did, but it took a little bit longer. I would say on those days you just got early bedtime, first of all. That's number one most important thing. Have kind of expectations that you're going to have a cranky evening, work in maybe some outside play or some water play. Those things always help keep things moving when you've got a cranky kiddo, and an early bedtime for sure. So that's my best advice on that.
I like that. What about this curveball? They skip nap all day, then in the drive home,
they fall asleep.
Boom.
That's almost guaranteed.
It's true. And I think this is something I wanted to take a moment to spotlight because it can be tempting, especially when there's a time where we move away from wake windows.
Yes,
right? And this is usually around that time.
Yeah.
And so if they nap in the car, one might think, I need a new wake window.
Bedtime. No.
Heck no. You're still early because they're wiped, they're zonked, still an early bedtime.
Yeah. Let them get a little snooze in the car. Don't do one of those like driving around for an hour. Don't do that. Let them have a short nap in the car, and then pretty much the same bedtime, frankly, unless, I don't know, there might be a unique situation where you have to push it by maybe half an hour or so, but I wouldn't go nuts on pushing that bedtime later.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. That sounds good to me. I would say the same thing. And I don't talk to many people who this would be their scenario, but if for some reason you were picking up early afternoon, obviously you could let them have a decent nap. I'm just projecting that it's likely a typical work day. It's 4 or 5 o'clock or onwards.
Another kind of thing that could happen, or sometimes did, this was my son. So he moved to 1 nap at daycare around 12 months as well, but he would sleep for the 10 minutes on the way to daycare in the morning because he would start daycare because my older kids were going to school. They start late at school. So he would be driving to daycare at like the perfect 9:30 nap time, and he'd pass out every single time. And at first I had a bit of stress about this, like, okay, how's this going to impact this nap he's supposed to be having, in 2 hours? But the daycare drive was only 8 minutes long or 10 minutes long. So I just let him do that little nap. And it never really impacted his nap at daycare. So he was still able, after a short little cat nap in the car, to go down for that noon time. So he was kind of on 1 nap, kind of on like 1.5 naps, but it worked out well for him. And then eventually he just grew out of that little car snooze. So your kiddo would do that too.
Yeah, you bring up a good point when you have other kids too to drive around, and it can be like, well, it's not going to fit this perfect schedule we have because we've been on this lovely schedule for months or weeks or however long it's been, but that's just not possible to avoid all these things. And this is a great reminder to just stay focused on what you can control, which is your perspective on this, like how you react to these things, not like, oh, I fell short today, or oh, it's going to be a crappy time because he had that, snooze in the car. It just comes with the territory of driving at that time and being in these transitions.
Absolutely. A nice reminder might be if you've established like a really nice sleep routine and environment in your home, if you have a good thing going with sleep, what that tells me is that your kid experiences a lot of consistency around sleep and that they are like well nourished by your sleep routine. And if you have a kid who can be described that way, that kid is then also flexible. And so if you have to mess things up and do something wonky with drives or whatever, your kid can handle that because of all of that work you've done to establish that security at the house, right? That's what the point of that is it allows for a little bit of messiness sometimes because it's so stable.
I love that.
So that's a nice reminder too.
No, that makes a lot of sense. On this note of like going through a transition too, would you say it's normal to experience a sleep regression when you're adjusting to daycare?
I think so. Yeah. I think a little bump in the road is common.
Yeah.
Some kids, it's kid dependent too. Like some kids handle it better or worse. But I think it's okay to anticipate a bit of sleep disruption, and it's not the end of the world because it won't be forever. That's the most important part.
Yeah, it's for now.
For now.
Yeah, I like that. And it's like any regression, a step back with sleep. For, as you know, there's one for everything, it feels like. And so I think this is no different. And so that steadiness means everything around where and when they sleep, for sure.
Let me ask you a question. What happens if the parents have to wake the baby earlier in the day to get to daycare or work on time? So maybe baby like previously was sleeping till 7, but now all of a sudden they have to be out of the house by 7. So baby has to be up by 6. What do we do?
Yeah. And so we're assuming we're having decent quality sleep all night. Like as always, this is all based on a foundation of like, we want good sleep overall for sure. So you have to do what you have to do. So you want to make sure, obviously get yourself ready first as you can, and then scoop them out. I would make sure you have enough time and not like a rush, but like truly a decent feeding, a little bit of time together. I don't think it's worth waking them up super early so you can have like playtime and tummy time or whatever. I know they're not that young anymore, but like, you know what I mean? Baby activities, certainly not enough to get up, get dressed, have a feeding, and could literally fly into the car seat at that point. And maybe they continue sleeping on their journey, depending on how far away their daycare is. And then that could impact their nap onset earlier in the day is true as well, which again, being flexible about it means everything. And because they started the day that much earlier, bedtime again, we shout this from the rooftops, like nice and early bedtime would mean everything. For sure. Would you do anything different in the morning?
No, I think that's good. Sometimes families work it out that they can bring their kids in PJs to their daycare. That's sometimes a handy thing. Like if you pack their outfit for the day so you don't have to worry about getting them dressed at home. Yeah. Some daycares will allow for that. Some won't. It depends. But if you're arriving early, like daycares with flexible work hours often will accommodate that type of thing.
Bring a sleepy, cozy, jammy baby.
Yeah, just plop them, wake up, put them on the breast, put them in the car seat.
I love that. That sounds perfect.
Depends on the timing of the day.
Yeah. Being a working mom is a good thing for me, I think. I think about this as work. And I remember crying in that change room, right? Or worrying about what's it going to be like being away from my baby. But now that it's years later, I think it's really the best of both worlds.
Yeah. That's a good reflection because it can feel really, there's a lot of guilt and a lot of big feelings for the parent that come along with making this choice, like to return to work or to use daycare. Sometimes it's a choice. Sometimes there's no option there. But yeah, I think we've all cried in our car after dropping our kids at daycare. That's a universal experience.
And they cry as they...
It's hard.
Yeah, and to go. And this is the thing, like, don't linger. Oh my gosh. I learned that, like, just go. And literally the faster and more confidently you take off when you pass them to their care provider, the better it will go. Oh my gosh. They're in seconds. They're usually better. It's amazing. Yeah. My wonderful neighbor would text me and say, just so you know, they're fine. Like 30 seconds.
I know. It's so nice to get that update, isn't it? Because if you leave them crying, like that is pretty much the hardest thing in the world. It feels so heartbreaking. Yeah. I often will tell a story to parents when they're worrying about this, about you're modeling like a sense of safety and security when you're dropping your kid off. And so if your kid is freaking out or sad or upset, and this is true all the way up to 15, or like you probably can validate that part of this, and older, when you drop them off and they're in that place, like your job is then to demonstrate safety and security for them. So you want to communicate with your body language, with your attitude, with the way that you interact with the staff, that this is a safe and secure place for them. And so what that looks like is, confidently ushering them into the space, hearing their feelings, but maintaining the boundary. This is my favorite thing to say. So yeah, this feels really hard. Transition to a new place is scary, but this is a safe place for you. Mommy loves you. I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Give them a big hug and out the door.
And
then go cry.
And then cry. Yeah.
But keep your shit together and put a smile on your face and, recognize that your vibe really matters to your kiddo.
100. It's that regulation
Yeah.
piece. Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
So if they look up at you and they see that you're calm and confident and secure, they're going to trust that this is a safe place. If they look up at you and you're, freaking out and worrying and sad and lingering, then they're like, oh, maybe this isn't a good place for me. Like, mom looks scared right now. Is there a reason to be afraid?
Yeah, that's a good point. And if you have to, and you probably will, it's like
Fake it.
Truly. It's like at bedtime too, right?
Yes.
Like you have to just really stand firm and try to keep it together for them, if not for ourselves, right? Oh my gosh. It is such an adjustment. And as you say too, it's just not a choice. Like we had no choice. Like I had to go to work, period. Like that's it. And so it's a necessary step to take. But there is a lot of guilt, especially online, of like, well, I choose to like not let someone else like raise my, like, get out of here. Are you
That's
for
tough.
real?
That's
I
a tough
can't
go.
even with that because like, I'm sorry. Just because like I need childcare doesn't mean you're like raising my kids for me. Like,
No,
period.
that's a position of privilege, right? When people have that attitude. Yeah.
But if you're listening to this, I'm imagining it's because you have work coming your way, returning to work, or you've just returned to work and it's on your mind. Maybe it's months down the line. And we just wanted to bring this up, these best practices around like how to handle these things, but also just like, I don't know. I really enjoy being a working mom. I think it's the best of both worlds in that I can be with them. They're great. And also separation from them, I think makes me a better mom, whether it's for personal stuff or for work, because I like enjoy being around them. It's great. Plus my kids see me as a working person and my daughter sees me with a business and with like clients. It's really cool.
It's great.
I enjoy it. But also if you choose to stay home too, there have been times where I've been around more too, and that's lovely as well.
Yeah.
To each their own,
for sure. But no guilting anybody into into feeling bad about the choice they've made. Yeah.
That's it. Exactly. Like there's bills to pay. Hey, period. Like it's gotta happen.
Yeah. It's the world we live in.
It's the world we live in. So if you guys, think as you're listening to this, I have questions or I wonder about this scenario, you can write a comment and we'll see it, or you can shoot us a message on Instagram too and we can reply. Yeah. Working from two working moms to you. We wish you a smooth transition.
Good luck. And it'll be okay.
It will be okay.
It really will. Thanks for listening. Just remember, this shit is hard, but you are killing it.
To stay in touch, you can find us at betterbedtime.ca.